to a Disneyland Paris Q&A. We have just got back from an amazing trip. We spent 4 days celebrating my birthday, exploring the new Disney Adventure World expansion and the world of Frozen, staying in the Disneyland Hotel in Castle Club, and all of my other sort of favourite things I love to do when I'm in Disneyland Paris. So if you're new, hi, my name's Brogan. I make travel, home and lifestyle vlogs, and of course we cover Disney a lot. So we've done a few of the parks around the world, but Disneyland Paris is the one that has my heart. This is where I grew up going as a kid. I've been for many of my birthdays, and in the last year we became annual pass holders, so we've been 4 times. We hit each season this year. We do have a whole playlist of vlogs, including our most recent ones from March 2026 if you want to see, but I know a lot of you are considering going for the new things that have come to the parks and maybe you haven't been for a while, or you're just looking for some tips. So I'm going to be answering all your questions. I'm breaking this down into different categories, so if you want to skip along, there'll be timestamps in the description and along the bottom bar here for you. Hopefully I'll answer a lot of your questions, but if you do have anything else you want to ask me, then leave it down below. And if you did watch our new vlogs, then thank you so much. It means a lot to us both. We had so much fun. All right, starting with when to go and how long for. What is the best time of year to go for a couple and a 1-year-old? If best time to go for you means budget, then I would say January and February are the cheapest times. But you have to factor in that they typically do a lot of renovation or construction around this time. So some of your favorite rides might be down. So factor that in. Where you save on money, you may lose on experience. If you want to go for a particular season, then obviously you want to check the dates, but Halloween and Christmas are amazing seasonally and for theming, so I really do think this is quite immersive if you're a fan of either season. But if you're looking for good weather, low crowds, then I personally love June. I think after the May bank holiday and before the school summer holidays in July, June always is a really lovely time for us. For this year in particular, the new expansion has only just opened. I'm getting a lot of people ask me whether they should go now because they desperately want to see it, or whether they should wait. I honestly think that this new expansion is drawing in crowds for quite a while. All through the summer, the Disney Adventure World Park and the Adventure World expansion is going to have lots of things going on which will help disperse some of the crowds. We're going to have like seasonal shows. At the moment, I think Minnie's marching band, and that will all kind of help. Do you recommend going to both parks in one day or just the main park? We only have 1 day to spend and can't decide what to do. Honestly, Disneyland Paris is quite small. You can easily do both parks in a day. However, with the new expansion, it really depends on how much time you want to spend. So I would say start in the main park because you've got to go and see the castle, you've got to go and experience Main Street and soak that up. Decide what rides are a priority to you and then break up your day. Move over to Disney Adventure World and go and explore the new World of Frozen and expansion and maybe see that at sunset because that was stunning. And then if you want, you can go back to the main park for your evening to see the fireworks over there. That's the order I would do things, and it's quite nice to break up the day in this way. You can do both very, very easily. They're walkable, and Disney Adventure World used to be a half-day park for a lot of people. Now it really depends on if you're a roller coaster person. You've got Avengers Flight Force, Crush's Coaster, Tower of Terror, so there's a bit more thrill rides over there. But in the main park, you've got things like Big Thunder Mountain and Hyperspace Mountain, so each one will tick boxes for you. It's so lovely to be able to go and see the new World of Frozen. Even if you don't go and do the ride or meet Anna and Elsa, you can just go and explore. It's so immersive and so pretty, so that's what I would do. Loved the travel day vlog. Do you think driving is now easier than getting the train now it's not direct? Driving is easier if you have someone that's confident enough to do the long distance. And I guess long distance is subjective because for me, an hour to 2 hours in a car driving is long. But for Benji, he can do 6, 7, 8 hours because he's used to that from his previous work. So I would say driving is currently easier for us because we go 3 hours down to Folkestone, we take the half-an-hour crossing on Le Chateau, and then it's 3 hours down. I really do like the drive. If Benji's up for it, then we do it. However, if we're in London and we time a London trip with a Disney trip, then I will still pick the train purely because it is nice and easy and you're just sat there and it takes you to the park. But obviously, yes, you do have to change. The change is fine. You can do it at Lille, you can do it in Paris. It's a little bit more faffy in Paris, but Lille is easier still, I believe. You've obviously got the option to fly to, and you can get a train from the airport to Disneyland Paris. It's very easy to do so. In fact, I'll show you on a map here. This is how I would do it. Or I believe there's buses, or you can taxi. Getting there can feel like a slight faff, but it's really not. Once you've done it a few times and found your way of what works for you, then yeah. And obviously driving comes with so many more perks in terms of no weight allowance, being able to pack all my things, and any Disney fan knows that if you have a lot of different outfits and Loungefly bags and mini ears, like it's such a lovely perk to not be restricted on how much I can bring for those kind of accessories, because that's half the fun for me. Getting dressed up, styling, having a variety of options. I will change sometimes twice a day. Whereas when we take the train or we would fly, I would have to obviously factor the weight. Also, if you want to buy anything bulky or anything delicate, we brought home Christmas decorations, then it's a little safer and easier. Do you know what I mean? There's like pros and cons to always, but hopefully that helps you decide. The next section is all about hotels, and I had a couple of questions, but I wanted to start by saying I have only ever stayed on Disney property. And when we got our annual pass, I had good intentions of staying off property because there are so many good hotels, but I cannot pull myself away. The perks of being on property is just so much more beneficial for me. I love being able to walk back to my hotel. I don't like having to get multiple buses, and I like the ability to like take a break if I need to. But I did want to give you a few suggestions. My lovely friend Sam from Sam for God, I will leave her link below. She has an amazing YouTube channel covering loads of things for Disneyland Paris. I reached out to her and she kindly recommended a few places. She recommended Hotel l'Elysée. I believe that's how you say it. She said it's a good location, modern hotel, safe, but there's no swimming pool if that's important to you. The bus is shared with 2 other hotels. Then Relai Spa Hotel. I'll leave these linked below in case I'm saying them wrong. She said this is a similar location to the first, and it has a swimming pool and the bus is on demand. And then the Radisson Blue is not the best location, but really nice, and the bus service is amazing. Hopefully that helps if you did want to stay offsite or just compare prices for those hotels versus Disney hotels. Let's jump into the hotel questions then. So I'm looking to do a long weekend budget friendly trip and I want to drive. Best tips for this kind of staycay at Disney. I recently with Benji at Christmas stayed in Disney's Davy Crockett Ranch, which is their cheapest accommodation. We also drove, and this is perfect if you do want to drive and you do want to be on a budget, because it's basically small self-catered cabins in the forest. It's so cozy. I'd previously heard bad reviews about the old cabins, but they have been refurbishing them, and ours was perfect. It was so lovely, so clean, really well organized and laid out. We made our own breakfast to save money each day because Christmas was an expensive time. So this really helped. I think we paid like £500 for the whole thing. It was a really nice stay, but there are no shuttle buses. I think you can obviously get taxis, but if you have a car, it's only a 10-minute drive to the parks. The drive was so easy between our accommodation and to the park, and the parking lot is really easy to navigate as well. I would definitely recommend checking out the Davy Crockett Ranch. It was really good and I would definitely stay there again. Have you ever stayed at Newport Bay Club? Yes, I have stayed at Newport Bay. If you are familiar with Disneyland Paris hotels, there is a big lake. So you've got the Disneyland Hotel, the Disney Village, and the lake, and around the lake you've got Art of Marvel, Sequoia Lodge, and Newport Bay. I have stayed in all of them. Newport Bay, if you pay for a standard room, you could end up with a room that is genuinely about a 10-minute walk from reception. Like, I remember going down the corridors for so long, and after a long day in the parks, your feet are aching, it's late at night, you're tired. It's so frustrating. So even though psychologically I might be walking further or longer to other hotels, I don't know, there was something about that just put me off. So I think the theming's gorgeous. I love the nautical vibes. It is really nice. I don't like how big it is. Art of Marvel is really good for Marvel fans. It's very modern and futuristic, but that can be a little clinical. It lacks the kind of nostalgic Disney that I love. That kind of hotel was very sleek and very nice, but my number one out of that area, bar the Disneyland Hotel, is Sequoia Lodge. I love the foresty feel. You've got Bambi everywhere. The characters dressed up in their kind of camping gear. It's just really cool. And if it's not much more money, then definitely check out their Golden Forest Club. You get a private lounge and you get to have breakfast and afternoon tea there. So, and your room is closer to the lifts. So for me, that was worth it, the Golden Forest Club. And I've done that 2 or 3 times now. So that is my, if I'm not doing the Disneyland Hotel, that would be definitely my next preferable choice. All right, let's talk about the Disneyland Hotel then, because I had quite a few comments about Castle Club. So what was your favorite part about the Castle Club room? With the room itself, I think from memory, it was super similar to a standard room that we had back in 2024, but it was probably a bit bigger, and obviously the location was way better. In terms of the quality, the bed linen, how comfy it was, the decor, all of that is very, very similar. So the actual room itself, I would say, is similar, if not the same. Castle Club is a whole nother conversation. So someone asked, how did you book Castle Club and were you able to choose the specific room number that you got? You can only book it by calling a designated line. So when you're looking at the dates, it will come up with all the different room options, standard rooms and deluxe rooms, and then it will say clubs and suites or something. And there's a phone number. They do speak English, and I called up and I got a quote. Then I sat on it for a few days, called back, it was the same price, booked it with a deposit. They were really helpful, really easy. So I communicated with them a couple of times and yeah, it worked out really easily. Right, let's talk about what's included in Castle Club. If you're driving, you get valet parking, you get a luggage service where they will take your luggage straight from the boot of your car or from wherever you arrive from and deliver it straight to your room. And then on reverse, when you check out, you leave your luggage in the room and they will bring it to you when you are ready to go, or straight to your car in our case, which was insane. You get a private check-in, which is really helpful. And I do this at Sequoia Lodge Golden Forest as well, because sometimes when it's really busy at 3 o'clock, everyone's trying to check in. You get a private lift, which gives you direct access in and out of the park. And that's also where your private check-in is. It's level 3, and that's the same level where our room was, and the lounge and the reception. And then on floor 4 is where they have a lot of the suites. We weren't in a suite, but we did have a castle view room. But if you watched our vlogs, you'll know that the lift took us in the middle, inside, and then during extra magic hours, they didn't start till 8:30, but we went down at like 15:15, 20 past, and they let us in. So it meant we got extra magic hours, which I never knew. I don't know if that's just because they're a little bit more flex with Castle Club guests. They kind of just, you know, invite you to carry on. But we didn't have anyone when we were walking down Main Street, which was wild. It ended up being like 1 or 2 other families, and that was it. So we did have some lovely pictures. So that was a really lovely privilege. Another big perk is the lounge. So this we used every day for breakfast, but not just the buffet breakfast you kind of typically expect. In Golden Forest Lounge at Sequoia Lodge, it's lots of lovely buffet bits. And I will say, I think the buffet bits were better at Sequoia Lodge. The Disneyland Hotel did have a nice little buffet spread. However, you can order things. So I had a fresh omelette made for me. I had eggs Benedict one day. So like really lovely food, if that makes sense. Like freshly made meals for breakfast. Plus it's a character princess breakfast. So you will meet Aurora, Rapunzel, we saw Tiana, like they roam around all through breakfast. I think they come at like 8:30 until the end of breakfast. You'll often see them on the balcony on level 3 if you're going to the Royal Banquet or the bar, or you're walking through the hotel at all, then you'll see them on that floor, and that is the floor where Castle Club Lounge is. So if princesses are important to you, you meet them all the time. We had some amazing interactions, loads of amazing pictures. I've never had so many princess meets. I saw Aurora like 4 times. It was amazing. So princesses, major perk. Breakfast in the lounge with the princesses, lovely, stunning. And then the lounge is open all day. So from breakfast ending at 11 a.m, it runs open right through till midnight, where you can get soft drinks unlimited all day. And it was really nice drinks, like a Coke Zero in a glass bottle, but like a big one, and a hot chocolate that was like really thick melted kind of chocolate. It was stunning. And then in the afternoon, between 3:30 and 5, they do an afternoon tea. So lots of little like snacky bits, enough that you could kind of make a bit of a lunch out of it, and we certainly did. We pretty much ate all our food in that lounge all day. And the last perk to the lounge is you can actually watch the fireworks from here too. So they invite you to come and take a seat, have a drink, which was really nice. But we had a castle view room. I believe you can stay in Castle Club without a castle view room. We paid extra to have the castle view room because it was my birthday and because it was a special trip and it was something I've always dreamed of. If I was to do it again, I would be tempted to do Castle Club without the view, but it was pretty amazing waking up in the morning, seeing the park, seeing the castle, watching the sunset on that first day on my birthday, and then of course seeing like the parade and the fireworks. It was more than just the view. It was so much more in terms of what you got, but it was such a special thing. I probably won't ever do it again. Yeah, it was amazing. With all that in mind, you now know all the perks. My most asked question was, what was the cost per night for the Castle Club stay? So I want to premise this by saying that this is certainly a very luxe, high-end experience, and I probably won't ever do it again. We did it for my birthday, something I'd been saving for years. I don't have kids. I choose to spend my money and my experiences on these kind of things. If you're the kind of person that wants to spend all day in the parks and you don't need like little luxuries and a lounge and things like that, then this is not going to be for you. And like I said, we have stayed budget end at the David Crockett Ranch, which I think was about £500 for all 3 days that we did. So there are so many ways you can do Disney for a much more affordable price. And then as you go up and spend more, it's up to you whether you think it's worth it or not. It's going to be subjective. But to give you a rough overview, I want to show you a few examples. So I chose some random dates in September, and please bear in mind that this includes part tickets as well. So factor that in when you're thinking of the cost. We don't need the tickets because we have annual passes, but as you can see, these are all the prices for a superior room. Then you go into deluxe rooms, which includes access to the deluxe lounge, but that's still not Castle Club. And as I was doing my research and looking, they were around £830, but then randomly there were some Castle Club rooms coming up. These don't always show, but as you can see, it's only like £30 more for Castle Club. So I thought I'd put this to the test and try some other dates also in October. And as you can see again, £520 a night for a standard, coming out at $812 for Castle Club. So that's the difference. I did also try some dates in July, as you can see here, and there was no Castle Club showing. And finally, just for some comparison, I actually found some dates at the beginning of December where randomly these signature suites, they had the prices showing. I've never seen this before, so I thought you might like to see as well. This is what the suites look like. I mean, this is the ultimate dream, right? I don't think I'll ever be in one of these, but if you get to stay in this Cinderella view room, oh my gosh, stunning. But I thought it was just quite interesting to see the cost comparison per person per night, by the way, and it does tell you that total price underneath. But yeah, that gives you a good overview of everything. If you're staying in the Disneyland hotel, it's still amazing to be there. You still get access to the pool and in and out of the hotel. You're not going to have a private lift and entrance, but you're still going to be able to get in and out very easily. And at the moment, they're not letting other guests in, so it's really lovely around there right now. It's very quiet and peaceful and beautiful. Also, the prices are going to fluctuate depending on how many people, how long you stay for, time of year. Like I said, January, February is probably going to be cheaper. We were there the week of World of Frozen and Disney Adventure World opening. I'm very aware that Castle Club is going to be out of reach for a lot of people, and for us it's not something we'll probably will do again. I feel extremely lucky, extremely grateful that I got to do it. On the other end of that, I thought we could maybe go into some budget tips and first timer experiences. So someone said, for the first time trip to Disneyland Paris, what do you think is the ideal number of days for the trip? I would recommend 3 or 4 days, but you need to factor in your travel time. Your travel might take you half a day and you might not arrive to the park until 3 o'clock on the Monday. If you then check into your hotel, get some food, you've only got like a half day or evening. And then depending on what time your travel home is, that will obviously dictate how much part time you're going to have. I personally like 2 full days if I can, but I'm in a position now where 2 nights actually is quite good for us. And this trip we did 3 purely because I was working and we were doing World of Frozen stuff, so I needed to factor in that time. But 2 nights works nicely if I can get us there in decent time on the Monday and we go home late on the Wednesday. But if you've never been before and you don't want to pay extra for premier access and you want to take your leisurely time, then you might want 4 days, but I don't think you need any longer than that. I want to do my first Disney Paris trip. How much should I look at saving to cover everything, including treats? I find this question really hard to answer because there's no figure that I can give you that will be accurate. The reason for this is that your biggest expenses are going to be in the hotel and tickets, your travel and your food, and all these things have asterisks because obviously hotel, if you're going to stay on site or off site, are you going to do a Disney package where you get the hotel and tickets included? Would you rather save money, stay off site and pay for tickets separately? Does that work out financially better? How's your travel looking? Can you drive, save on costs? Is the Eurotunnel a good price or do you need to fly? So that's going to be different. And then of course food comes down to, do you want to eat quick service? Do you want to eat your own lunches that you've made up? Do you want to only eat in nice restaurants? Like how much you choose to spend on the food can also sorry, I got a piece of hair, can also factor in how much everything costs. So the only other things outside of those that you probably need to consider are things like Premier Access, if that's in your budget. So paying for Fast Pass Lightning Lanes, basically skip the queues. These can start from 5 to like 15 euros per ride for one-time use, or you can spend up to like 90 euros and get the chance to go on all the rides. So there's a few options of Premier Access. And lastly, merchandise. How much do you personally want to spend on buying things, souvenirs, clothes? You have kids that want bubble ones and princess dresses. So I cannot give you a cost, but you need to decide and break down the costs for you and compare it all up. Do you have any money saving tips and tricks whilst in the Disney parks? So like I said, do your own breakfast. You can bring cereal with milk, or you could bring some croissants, or one of my favorites is actually just a cereal bar or a protein shake. These keep me going for the morning, and then I'll start and pay for my lunch and my dinner. Breakfast in Disneyland Paris sucks. There's like nowhere good, especially not for quick service. So I personally think if you can save money on food, definitely bring your own breakfast and then just prioritize your 2 other meals. Bring your own water bottle. It's so easy to just buy drinks and buy a coffee and buy a Coke, but you can bring a reusable bottle. There are refill machines, typically near the bathrooms, but you'll see them, or you can ask cast members. And yeah, filling up our own water saved us a lot of money in the summer when we were both drinking a lot. And lastly, I've mentioned this in a couple of my vlogs, but you can use the Skip Tax app. Because we are no longer part of the EU, we're able to claim the tax back on merchandise. It's not on hotels or tickets. You have to spend a minimum of 100 euros. You have to keep all of the items together with the receipts, with the tags on. You scan your receipts, upload it, put the total, put the tax, which will show you on your receipt, and then you can basically submit the forms. And before you leave the country, you generate a PDF with a barcode, which you get scanned at the airport, at the Eurotunnel, or at the train, or whatever you're doing. So once you drive in and before you get onto the train, you go inside and there are these like booths that you just scan your PDF from your emails. Once you've done it once, it's really easy. But if you are spending more than 100 euros, then you can obviously claim the tax back. If you're buying, like I said, princess dresses, or in my case, plush, and I will show you the merch I bought, then that does help save a bit of money, which is always nice. First timer top 5 tips. If you go into the map on your Disneyland Paris app, you toggle across to the list and you swipe over to shows and characters. This is where you'll find your times for things. It's quite nice to look at these show times, so I recommend that. And also the app Magipark. I've talked about this a lot too. I believe it's only on iPhone, unfortunately, not on Android. This is a really great app for wait times, to very clearly see where everything is in a list. I don't love the Disneyland Paris app for wait times. Some characters are on a virtual queue. They drop them at 9:45 and 2 p.m. on the dot. Once you're in the app and you can have a little look and you see, you'll be able to figure it all out, honestly. But my best advice here is don't use the Disneyland Paris Wi-Fi. Toggle to your 5G. Get an eSIM if you don't have the ability to use your 5G, but you will find it so much quicker. And I've been successful with this before. I've got us a Meet Mickey at 2 p.m. I literally set an alarm for 1:59. I waited, refreshed in and out, and I got us a virtual queue. It's not ideal. You're not always going to be successful. I know they have this over in Florida for rides sometimes, but you just need to know that if that's a priority, you want to meet a specific character, sometimes they're on virtual queues. And I imagine that Anna and Elsa in World of Frozen is probably going to do that soon. For the parades, at the moment, over the last year, they have typically had 2 different parades. Stars on Parade, that's been running for absolutely donkey's years. It's a banger though, so I don't want them to get rid of it. But at the moment, it's running at around 11:30 and only once a day. And that's a very classic, iconic Disney parade. So I really recommend trying to see that if you're a newbie. That is the one-time one you want to see. And I think a lot of people forget about it because it's early in the morning and they're busy doing other things. They end up missing it. So that's the one parade I think is worth seeing. In terms of where you stand for it, I personally think it's best to see it where it comes out, which is by the turrets near It's a Small World. You can't miss it. You'll see the ropes where people are standing, but it means that you can see the show and leave straight away. If you don't get down there like we did, then you can stand at the top of Main Street. I like watching it from the top where the shows are, where it leaves, it exits through some gates. You can go and watch my last vlog to see exactly where we stood. That's my best advice for watching the parade. And then the second one, which I would call a seasonal parade, typically runs quite a few times in the afternoon. At At the moment, I think it's called A Million Splashes. They've had this before. It's very like art themed, paint splashes. The song is also a banger. To watch this one, it typically comes out at the top of Main Street from those big gates, which you'll see if you're walking into the park and you look at the castle, the gates are on the right. It normally comes out, it goes down to the castle, they get out and they go and stand on the like podiums around the castle and they do a little bit of dancing. Now, this can get really busy around here and can be really lovely atmosphere if you want to dance along and see the characters up close. However, you can still enjoy the parade. It will then come back up Main Street and exit where it began. So it does like a loop. That is kind of how parades are running right now. So Stars on Parade in the morning, seasonal parade in the afternoon. This was the same for Christmas and Halloween as well. So this seems to be what they're doing at the moment, but that is subject to change. It might be that they only run Stars on Parade and don't have anything seasonally. That has taken me a year to figure that out. So at least you can go in knowing that's how they do things. Tip number 4 is spend time in the castle. It's very easy to just walk straight through, but if you go upstairs, you can see all the stained glass windows. It's so pretty and you feel like an actual princess walking around, obviously a castle. But downstairs, you'll be able to see the dragon. It's quite a sweet little animatronic. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's just kind of fun and unique. And then on the normal level, there are 2 shops. There's like a Christmas shop and what we call the glass blowing shop because it's so pretty. It's got loads of jewelry, Christmas decorations. Again, we showed both shops in the last video, but they're really nice. So don't miss them. You can find some really nice merch in there. I wish more people that were new spent the time in the castle. And lastly, for your meals, try and have lunch at like 11 or 11:30 or like 2:33 p.m. Everybody goes for lunch in that 1 o'clock window and it's so busy everywhere. If you're gonna do that, you can do mobile order to save you queuing. But if you can, it is just slightly better. Like we went and had our Mickey shaped pizza in the restaurant that's opposite Is a Small World where they actually bring out Stars on Parade. We went in at 11:30-ish, straight after we saw the parade. And we had our pizza, sat down, finished. And when we came out, there was a queue. I've got a whole section on meals a little bit later on, but they were my top tips. Favorite shows and parades, what's not worth it? So I already mentioned Stars on Parade. In fact, any parade at Disneyland Paris has always historically been really good. I've always had fun. I've always had good interactions. I think Disneyland Paris do parades very well. They're very good at music. I think you'll enjoy any parade if you see one. In terms of shows, my top 3 shows are Together, a Pixar musical, which is over in Disney Adventure World. This is good for all the family. It's inside, so really nice in the middle of the day if it's hot or if it's raining. It's basically a celebration of Pixar movies. So you've got IP in there such as Up and Toy Story, Finding Nemo, I think. I'm just trying to think of Pixar movies. You know what I mean? It's really sweet. Also over in Disney Adventure World, I think Mickey and the Magician is really good. This is in English and French. I've actually seen this in Hong Kong as well, and it is just a really fun show. The Disney magic on stage is just like, it's so wholesome. I think anyone will enjoy this one, and it feels like a theatre show, if that makes sense. Sometimes in Disneyland Paris, some of the shows don't feel like productions. They're kind of smaller scale, or so I personally would skip Mickey's PhilharMagic because it's screens, or Stitch Live is also a screen. Minnie's Dream Factory is better for children, but my third and final top 3 show would be The Lion King, which we saw also in our last video, and that's called The Rhythms of Pride Lands, I think. The actors are all dressed in beautiful costumes, stunning acrobats, singing. It's about 20-25 minutes and I really love that one. The Lion King show is in the main Disneyland park. You do not have to pay for any of these shows. They're included in your ticket. I'd recommend arriving at least 20 or 30 minutes before. You will get a good seat wherever you sit. Don't bother paying for a premier access for the shows. You don't need it because it doesn't really matter where you sit. For any of them, you'll see it all. It doesn't matter. First full day, where to head to first to get best queue times before the crowd/business later on. I would recommend in the main Disneyland park, if you want to do a coaster, Big Thunder Mountain is probably the one that's going to get the higher wait times, and it's so fun in the morning to start your day on Big Thunder. Or if you've got kids and you want something nostalgic, then one of the most popular rides is Peter Pan's Flight. It feels like you're on a little flying boat thing. And if you're going over to Disney Adventure World, Crush's Coaster typically gets quite busy. It's an indoor roller coaster, or Frozen Ever After that's over in World of Frozen, so you've got to go all the way to the back of the park, but that is one of the most popular rides, if not the most popular ride right now. Obviously it's only just opened, a lot of people have not done it before, but if you've done Walt Disney World, it's the same in Epcot, and if you've done Hong Kong, it's the same that they have over there as well. It's not the same as the Japan one though. The Japan Frozen Ever After has got like 5 or 6 extra scenes and it's got more tech. But if you've never done what Frozen Ever After before, then definitely go straight over there and do that in Frozen. Where do you think is the best place to stand for Cascades of Light, and do you reckon you need to be there very early to get a spot? So we never saw Cascades of Light, but I've done a bit of research. I've asked around, spoken to all my friends that have seen it, and I've got quite a few cast member friends, and it sounds like there's going to be a priority area that you can pay extra for. I don't know if that's really going to be worth it, but I always am interested in where that is. So from the map that I've seen, I believe it's going to be in front of where Tower of Terror is, so that you're kind of looking at World of Frozen. However, a lot of people are saying that it's really good to see it by World of Frozen, near the Friendship Fountain. There's some stairs, so you're facing a Tower of Terror, if that makes sense. It is a 360 show. The drones, you can see them from anywhere. I just believe that apparently the projections that are on the water are better seen from either that side or the other side, like, if that makes sense. In terms of getting there early, I think 20 or 30 minutes and you should be fine. It depends on if you want to be right at the front with nobody literally in front of you. Even if you're 2 or 3 rows of people back, you'll still see it well because most of it is up in the sky. I don't think it matters too much. I personally won't be getting there more than half an hour before for me, but then I also do like to film things. I don't want to put my camera up in the sky to, you know, ruin someone else's experience, so I'll try and get along the barriers, but it won't matter if you're a few rows back. There's loads of spaces to stand, whereas on Main Street it can feel quite claustrophobic, whereas the lake over in Disney Adventure World, there's loads, you can spread out. So the next question that leads me on to is, do you think it's worth reserving a space for the nighttime show in Disney, or do you think you can get a good spot on Main Street? Look, you can get a good spot and see it from anywhere you stand, honestly, as long as you're sort of front facing. The minute you start coming further out and around, you do lose some of the drones or the projections, but it really depends on, do you mind waiting 30 to 40 minutes beforehand, and do you mind crowds and potentially children on shoulders and phones high up in the sky? If none of those things really bother you too much, you'll be able to stand anywhere and see them. Fireworks are fireworks, right? I've seen the show from the very front, the middle and at the back. However, and I stand by this, I do believe it is worth paying for the premiere access, even if you just do it for one night. I have done this a few times now and always had a really good experience. People recommend that you should still arrive 20 or 30 minutes before. We've rocked up 5 minutes before and had the perfect view right at the front. I do believe it's worth it. I will be doing it on my next trip, whenever that is. Okay, let's move on to food. Your top 3 restaurant recommendations for half board. This has changed for me because there are some restaurants I've done that I used to love, and then I've gone back in the last couple of years and I've not loved them as much. But the ones that have stayed quite consistent for me are Bistro Chez Remy, which is over in Disney Adventure World next to the Ratatouille ride. I think the theming is stunning in here, so immersive, so Disney. Everyone should go and do this at least once. The food has always been very good. I wouldn't say it's outstanding food, but it's very, very good. I've had soup, I've had steak here, fish. The fish was really good. I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere was nice, so I would go back. And Waltz, an American restaurant that is down Main Street. If you can time it to have lunch or dinner here when there's a parade on and you get a view or a seat right by the window, mwah, absolutely chef's kiss. One of my favourite restaurants, if not maybe my absolute favourite. The chicken pot pie is lovely. The pineapple upside down cake is good. I've just really enjoyed my meals here. I've never had a bad meal here, and I've done at least 3 or 4 times there. So really recommend Waltz. And then for my third spot, I was trying to think of something that I would recommend, and the Disneyland Hotel has its Royal Banquet buffet. I've done it for breakfast, but maybe it would be better for dinner, and you get to meet Mickey and Minnie kind of all dressed up, but I think it's very expensive. So then I was looking at a couple of other options, and one I haven't done but gets really good reviews for food and character meets is Auberge de Cendrillon. It's right next to the castle at the back. I think it's actually similar price, but if the food reviews are better, I might look at trying that next time. I think it's always nice to have a character meal if characters are important to you. It's a nice way to meet them. Also, I want to give you a tip when you're booking your meals. If you are wanting to eat somewhere and you can't get a reservation, don't worry about rocking up on the day or asking your hotel, because people cancel all the time. And also, the lunch slot ends at 5:30. So I've searched for lunch and been able to get a reservation at 5:30 and had the dinner menu. I've gone there for dinner, even though it was a lunch booking. When you're booking, it will say breakfast, lunch or dinner. And sometimes you click lunch, it will bring you up slots right through to the end of the day. So There we go. What's your favourite snack at Disneyland Paris? Crepes are really yummy. I have also previously loved the macarons. I don't think you can go wrong. Some people love a glass of champagne down Main Street. We've had hot chocolates in the little restaurant right at the end of Main Street next to Casey's Corner. That was quite sweet. I have to admit, every time I've tried a different snack, it's been a bit of a disappointment. Yeah, no, there's not been anything wowie. However, I have had some lovely quick service meals. So we really enjoyed the new Nordic Crowns Tavern over in the World of Frozen. We had the fish bites and I had the salmon and mash, and Benji had meatballs. Again, we show all that in our World of Frozen vlog number 2. Such a good meal, really good quality food. I really enjoyed it, and I'd definitely go straight back there as my number 1 quick service choice. I also love the Mickey shaped pizza. You can get this at a few different restaurants. I think it's Pizzeria Bella Notra. Something like that. And I also quite like the burritos at the Coco restaurant. I think it's called Casa de Coco. The burritos, the frozen margaritas, actually anything on that menu is pretty good there. I've eaten there a few times. So they would be my kind of top quick service recommendations as well. But in terms of snacks, I'm sorry I don't have loads. I don't love a lot of the snacks. Moving on to annual passes. Do you think the Disneyland Paris Silver Annual Pass is worth it? And do you get benefits for staying on site with the pass? So quick recap, bronze plus or something, silver and gold. I think there's a few levels now, but when I did it was bronze, silver, gold. I think there's another tier now. Each tier gives you different numbers of days for access. The silver pass gives us 300 days of access. So when it was Christmas, we could go right up until the 18th, 19th of December, and then we had block out days, if that makes sense. With the silver pass, you get 10% off merch and food, which is really helpful, but you do not get any discounts on the hotels. However, when I was doing my Castle Club Disneyland Hotel research, I looked at the same dates with and without tickets, and it was coming out at £100 cheaper without tickets per night. As annual pass holders, we can book hotel rooms. In the back end of our account, there's a button that says book hotel room, which allows you to book without a ticket package. You don't get any savings, but for me, if I'm staying 3 nights, that's £300. So I'll take it. They don't advertise savings, but there can be some, basically. I did the maths and I worked out that we needed to go at least twice in order to make our money back. We did 4 trips. For us, the pass has been worth it, but I really don't know what the final figures are in terms of how much we saved, if that makes sense. And then someone else asked, will you be heading down to Disneyland Paris again before your annual pass expires, and are you thinking of renewing? So we have no plans at the moment because we're trying to prioritize Disneyland in California to see their 70th anniversary celebrations, which end in August. So I need to get that trip in before the summer, ideally. So whether we squeeze in Disneyland Paris around June, July or August, maybe, but then I'll have to decide whether we renew. I would quite like to go back again in the summer just to experience World of Frozen in nicer weather and see what kind of summery things they do, and I know you guys like seeing us cover it, so it's very tempting for me from a work vlogging perspective. I certainly don't need to go again so quickly from a personal perspective, but I would like to go back maybe in October or December again, maybe both. I loved Halloween and I loved Christmas, so just trying to decide whether I add in that summer trip, which seems a little excessive if we're doing Disneyland, so I'm not 100% sure. However, something I do have to consider is that you can renew your annual pass, I believe it's 30 days before it ends, and then it's either 30 or 60 days after it ends. I need to double check, but basically a month before, after, and ours ends in June. Okay, I just Googled it, and Disneyland Paris offers 15% discount on the new range of annual passes when you're renewing within your window. So 15% is quite a big chunk. What do I do, guys? You let me know down below what I should do. I know this video has been really long, and if you just wanted to see the haul, hopefully you just skipped this part, but I did get a question on what is your favorite merch item at Disneyland Paris. The best merch item I've ever bought is my Disneyland hotel clock. I love this so much. The colors, the nostalgia for me of like the Disneyland hotel when you come in is so iconic, and also the fact I've stayed there and it just looks so pretty on my bookshelf. It's so Disney to me and I just love it. But then I think it's quite a niche Disney thing. Like a lot of my non-Disney friends wouldn't know what it is, but my Disney friends would. Speaking of merch, I thought we could run through some of the things I bought because I didn't know where else to put this haul. I know this video has been quite long already, but let me run you through the things I got, starting with Pua the pig. I love the Big Feet plush. I already have the Sven. I wish they did sell this in World of Frozen actually, because look how cute he is. But he has been available on Shop Disney. I love him so much. So I did want to get Pua. I do have a version of Pua that looks like this, but they're not the same, are they? This to me looks more generic pig, and this definitely feels more like the actual character. So yes, I did get this one. I got a pair of Mickey earrings, these little studs, which I wore when I was there, and I got a matching necklace, which I also wore. These were around 20 to 30 euros each, and I just thought it was so simple and pretty. That's gonna get lots of wear. I got one clothing item, which you may have seen me wear. In fact, I'll put it as a picture here. This Disneyland Paris jumper. It's a 3/4 button cropped jump sweatshirt thing. I love it. It says Disneyland Paris on the front. They actually do sell a Walt Disney World version of this as well. Benji and I collect very specific Christmas decorations from Disneyland Paris. We have a different one for each of the last 2 or 3 trips we've done. These glass baubles that have like little specks all over them. It kind of looks like a snowflake actually on the bottom. We've got Tink, we've got a Mickey one, we've got a few. And so we found this one in the shop at the end of the Frozen show, which no longer exists, but there was a little gift shop at the end. It wasn't in the glass blowing shop, which is where we normally buy it, but we had to have it because obviously this was all about World of Frozen. Can you see Olaf is in there? He is so cute. It was so perfect to represent going to the, well, we went to a preview, but you know, the opening week of it. I'm so glad we found one. It was the one and only version of this sort of bauble that we found. I'll show you a couple of pins I bought, not many, but I did go hard on pin trading. So I thought I'd show you my final selection of pins that I traded for. Look at these. Obviously, we all know if you watch the vlogs, I went mad for this princess one. I love it. But also the Moana one I don't have, so that was lovely. I do have, Moana's my favourite, I do have a collection, but I don't have that one. I liked this Minnie Mouse on her unicorn rubber ring. There's so many good ones. In fact, let me come even closer and then I'll pan through. Hopefully you can see all those. You have to ask if they have a pin board or when it will be out, or you can trade with cast members that have lanyards. But we had a lot of fun doing pin trading. Speaking of pins, I did get this pin set and I traded one away. It was Timon that I traded, but you can see it was a little set. This was about 15 euros, I think. I got a Disney Adventure World 2026 pass holder pin. This is the first pass holder pin I've actually been able to get for this opening, which is really exciting. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of the Frozen pins out at the time, but I'll go back and get one for World of Frozen. And then Benji always buys me my first pin, and he also got me a birthday pin. So these were the 2 I picked up in the shop on that special day. So I got the Sorcerer Mickey and then Gusto from, is his name Gusto? The chef from Ratatouille. How sweet is that? I love that. I got the little Olaf keychain. He was about 20 euros, I believe. And he's like a little knitted one that I hung on my bag. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't massively sold on the World of Frozen merch. A lot of you said you loved it from everything I showed. And I think the new bag and the new ears are gorgeous. But outside of that, I didn't get anything else. I didn't love everything. Oh, apart from some postcards. So just got my little Olaf. And then, yeah, I got these postcards, which you can actually send back home. They stick a special Arundel like stamp on the back. I don't know if that's usable. Let me know if it is. But I wanted to get these for my office. I think they look really nice as little art pieces. So we've got this one, World of Frozen, and this they have as a poster actually on the wall, which you'll find near the Fjord View shop. I got the pass holder lanyard, but I've actually since seen the generic lanyard that they're selling, and I think I like it even more. So I might have to have 2 because this is kind of like a cross-stitch style on the design, but it is really pretty and it's an exclusive pass holder one. So I thought that was quite fun to get this. I had so many questions, but I wanted to cover as much ground as I could. So I hope I've helped you. If I have, please give this a thumbs up. Let me know down below if you have any other questions when your next trip is. And I hope you have an amazing time. If you want to go check out our vlogs, I'd love that. But if you just wanted to have a spoiler-free experience and this has been the guide you needed, then I hope it has been helpful. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a magical trip and I will see you again in our next vlogs. Thanks for watching. Bye.